We are listening to Afternoons with Buchanan and Hill. It is straight up at 3:37 on Monday. And Darlene, I'm really excited about this conversation we're going to have over the next few minutes. Something that is near and dear, I'm sure, to many of our listeners is retiring, the idea of retiring with dignity, of being able to retire comfortably and be able to enjoy, the later years of your life after you have toiled and worked so hard. And so for many of us, unfortunately, there's some pretty daunting statistics about where much of the country is headed, irrespective of race. But of course, once you introduce race, the numbers get even worse. Terrible. So we have to talk about, and we have the perfect guest to do it. From Wealthmore Financial, we have with us Miss Tanya Frias. She is a certified financial planner, and we're here to talk specifically about how to prepare women for retirement, with it being Women's Month. Hi, Miss Frias. How are you? Here we go. Miss Frias, how are you?
Hey there. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Oh, we are fantastic. Thank you for joining us. I want to jump right into this as I'm looking at this information here. Let's start off the top by saying women, on average, earn only 82% of what men earn. This is according to the Pew Research report, and a woman may lose $400,000 to $1.2 million due to the gender pay gap. For black women, they could lose an estimated, over a 40-year work period, an estimated $964,000. Let's start there.
Yeah, it's reality for a lot of us. I'll give you myself as an example. When I had my son in 2011, at the time I was working for a major financial services company, and I live here in New York. And when you go on maternity leave, you do get short-term disability, but it was my employer's process that if you left for maternity leave, you no longer receive your income. So I, for that time, was just making, I believe it was $400 a week during that time. So that's a tax, right? That's a tax that women are imposed all over the country just for having children, right? Men don't encounter the same barriers to building a family, but it costs us money.
Yeah, indeed. And so let's talk about let's paint the landscape over the country. According to the Transamerica Center for Retirement, their survey reveals that more than half of women workers, or 57%, feel they don't have enough income to save for retirement, and only 19% are very confident they'll be able to fully retire with a comfortable lifestyle. Let's talk about the first half of that. 57% of people feeling they can't even afford to save for it.
That's the reality for a lot of Americans, right? I mean, we're currently in a situation where food costs are still high. Inflation has come down, but we're still feeling those expenses. And women also face a unique dynamic of caretakers, right? Not only caretakers for children, but also for their parents. And that comes with a cost as well. So if you're taking the responsibility of taking care of your family on both ends of the spectrum, that does cost money. And unfortunately, our income does not keep up for that, or even no one puts that into the equation when they're hiring you, right? They don't take into consideration the extra caregiving costs that go along with taking care of your family.
So what do you say to women, though, who just feel hopeless at this point then? Because like you said, especially a single mother out there who's taking care of her children, maybe taking care of a parent, a mother or a father, maybe another loved one. There's really nothing left. When you slice up the pie, you pay your bills, you take care of the kids, you take care of your loved ones. There's really not a whole lot left.
No, there isn't a whole lot left. But sometimes we just have to take an account of everything, right? Mm-hmm. Take account of our expenses, our income, really get into the details of where the money's going, which is no fun. No one likes to face, that your bank statement or your transactions, because it's no fun. But sometimes just the awareness can get you halfway there, right? Sometimes we don't know where the money's going. But if we take a look at everything, you'll certainly be able to find opportunities to cut down some spending in some areas and save some money, so that way it can go towards your goals or things that are more important to you.
And Ms. Frias, what would you say to the 25-year-old Tanya Frias, who just graduated from college, just started working her job? Would you start saving then, whether it's $100 a month, $100 every other week, what?
Even if it's $20, right, at just the small amount, because the difference between someone in their 20s and someone in their 50s is time. It's just time, and it's time you can't get back. So even if you start small, don't make your life uncomfortable. It really is small steps that can take a really long way, and it's a habit. It's just like a muscle. That saving muscle has to be worked out, and it's the same muscle that it takes to save $5 is the same muscle that it takes to save $500. So it's just getting into that habit of saving and making it, as automatic as possible, and that really gets you a long way towards saving for the long term. And when you're 25, you can't think that far ahead. Yeah. You can't think about 25 years from now, much less 35 years from now, but you can get into the habit of paying yourself first and saving, even if it's small amounts. And no one's saying don't enjoy your life. You should do that as well, but little steps will take you a long way.
But you would be able to enjoy your life a little bit better when you start saving. Because my daughter is there in New York. She's 25 years old. I'm here in Chicago. I'm 58 years old. And like you said, our saving, if we start right now at the same spot, it looks much different for her than it does for me. So where would you say then that $20, it can't just go, or $25 a month or $25 a week, it cannot just go into a regular savings. So how would you get started with saving, even if it's, like you said, something as low as $20?
There are so many platforms that make it easy to start investing, or since interest rates are a bit higher now, you can get an online savings account that's paying you 5% if you want to just start that way. And the next step, all of these investment platforms let you start with small amounts. Just find a regular S&P 500 ETF that gives you exposure to all 500 companies in that index, and they will let you can start trading with $5.
Yeah, and you would also say then take advantage of because I was just talking to a team about this in the commercial break. It's just about your 401ks, taking advantage of those, the IRAs out there.
For sure. I mean, if you work with an employer that offers the 401k, most companies do a negative consent, meaning that you're automatically enrolled unless you say otherwise, right? So these little things help you a lot. And once you're enrolled, start with an amount that you're not even going to notice. And you can even set up your 401k to increase automatically the contributions every year. You can set it up and check a box and say, okay, I'm contributing 2%, but next year will be 3%, the following year will be 4%, and you won't even feel it.
So we're about to take. Oh no, we got time. I want to ask you something because this makes so much sense. So I do want to ask you this question. There's not a lot of correlation made between, and I think there should be, between literally being physically healthy and retirement. Because what good is saving for all this if you're not around to enjoy it? Can you talk a little bit more about the importance of maintaining a healthy lifestyle?
It is so important. Healthcare costs are increasingly becoming a huge chunk of folks' retirement expenses. If we can keep ourselves healthy, eating the right things, not only physically healthy, but mentally healthy, it really goes a long way in retirement. You're talking about reducing your expenses anywhere from 10 to 20% per year if you can maintain your health. That adds up to a lot of money.
Absolutely. We're about to take a break for traffic and weather, but I want you to think about this during the break and give us an answer on the other side. I'd like to paint the picture of what it looks like when you are, if the worst happens, if you are ill-prepared for retirement. Because I want some people to be motivated today to make the changes they need to make. So think about that when we come back.
So you're telling me I need to cancel that trip? Is that what you're saying?
No, I'm just saying somebody else should pay for it.
Okay.
I agree with that.
All right, we're going to take a break. We'll be right back. Thank you, Tanya.
You're welcome.
Welcome back, everybody, on this Monday afternoon. It's about 3:52. We are having a great conversation with Tanya Frias with Wealth More. And before the commercial break, Tanya, thank you so much for hanging with us here in Chicago at WVON. We appreciate you. Before we went to the commercial break, Atiba kind of tossed out to you. Can you sadly paint a picture for us what it would look like if you don't start saving? If you don't have that savings that you can fall back on. I'm not saying that your savings has to be, afford you the lifestyle that you live now while you're working and you're active and you're financially healthy. But paint that picture for us later in life, if you don't.
Well, the biggest penalty for not saving is that you have to keep working, right? And working gets harder and harder the older we get, not only physically but mentally.